Day 166, Divided Kingdom, 1 Kings 17 through 18, 2 Chronicles 18 through 19, Song of Solomon 5. Let's begin. 1 Kings 17:18. And Elijah the Tishbite, from the inhabitants of Gilead, said to Ahab, As the Lord lives, the God of Israel, in whose sight I stand, there shall not be dew or rain during these years, except by the words of my mouth. And the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Withdraw from here, and go toward the east, and hide at the torrent Cherith, which is opposite the Jordan. And there you shall drink from the torrent. And I have instructed the ravens to feed you there. Therefore, he went and acted in accord with the word of the Lord. And going away, he settled by the torrent Cherith, which is opposite the Jordan. And the ravens carried bread and flesh to him in the morning, and likewise bread and flesh in the evening. And he drank from the torrent. But after some days the torrent dried up, for it had not rained upon the earth. Then the word of the Lord came to him, saying, Rise up, and go to Zarephath of the Sidonians, and dwell there. For I have instructed a widowed woman there to feed you. He rose up and went away to Zarephath. And when he had arrived at the gate of the city, he saw the widowed woman collecting wood, and he called to her. And he said to her, Give me a little water in a vessel, so that I may drink. And as she was going to bring it, he called out after her, saying, Bring me also, I beg you, a morsel of bread in your hand. And she responded, As the Lord your God lives, I have no bread, except a handful of flour in a jar, and a little oil in a bottle. See, I am collecting a couple of sticks, so that I may go in and make it for myself and my son, so that we may eat it and die. And Elijah said to her, Do not be afraid, but go and do as you have said. Yet truly, first make for me, from the same flour, a little bread baked under ashes, and bring it to me. Then afterward, make some for yourself and for your son. For thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, the jar of flour will not fail, nor the bottle of oil be diminished, until the day when the Lord will grant rain upon the face of the earth. She went and acted in accord with the word of Elijah. And he ate, and she and her household ate. And from that day, the jar of flour did not fail, and the bottle of oil was not diminished, in accord with the word of the Lord, which he had spoken by the hand of Elijah. Now it happened that, after these things, the son of the woman who was the mother of the family became ill. And the sickness was very powerful, so that no breath remained in him. Therefore she said to Elijah, What is there between you and me, O man of God? Have you entered to me, so that my iniquities would be remembered, and so that you would put to death my son? And Elijah said to her, Give your son to me. And he took him from her bosom, and he carried him to an upper room, where he himself was staying. And he placed him on his own bed. And he cried out to the Lord, and he said, O Lord my God, have you even afflicted the widow by whom I am, in a sense, sustained, so that you would put to death her son? And he stretched himself out beside the boy 3 times. And he cried out to the Lord and said, O Lord my God, let the soul of this boy, I beg you, return to his body. And the Lord heeded the voice of Elijah. And the soul of the boy returned to him, and he revived. And Elijah took the boy, and he brought him down from the upper room to the lower part of the house. And he gave him to his mother. And he said to her, See, your son lives. And the woman said to Elijah, By this, I now realize that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in your mouth is true. After many days the word of the Lord came to Elijah, in the 3rd year, saying, Go and show yourself to Ahab, so that I may grant rain upon the face of the earth. Therefore Elijah went to show himself to Ahab. For there was a severe famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, the manager of his household. Now Obadiah feared the Lord greatly. For when Jezebel was killing the prophets of the Lord, he took 100 prophets, and concealed them, 50 and 50, in caves. And he fed them with bread and water. Then Ahab said to Obadiah, Go into the land, to all fountains of water, and to all the valleys, for perhaps we will be able to find plants, and save the horses and mules, so that the beasts of burden may not perish entirely. And they divided the regions among themselves, so that they might travel through them. Ahab went one way alone, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And while Obadiah was on the way, Elijah met him. And when he had recognized him, he fell on his face, and he said, "Are you not my lord Elijah?" And he responded to him, "I am. Go and tell your lord that Elijah is here." And he said, "How have I sinned that you would deliver me, your servant, into the hand of Ahab, so that he would put me to death? As the Lord your God lives, there is no nation or kingdom to which my lord has not sent, seeking you." And when all responded, "He is not here," he swore each kingdom and nation to an oath, because you were not found at all. And now you say to me, "Go and tell your lord that Elijah is here." And when I will have departed from you, the Spirit of the Lord will transport you to a place that I do not know. And entering, I will report to Ahab. And he, not finding you, will put me to death. Yet your servant has feared the Lord from his infancy. Has it not been revealed to you, my lord, what I did when Jezebel was killing the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 men from the prophets of the Lord, 50 and 50, in caves, and how I fed them with bread and water? And now you say, "Go and tell your lord that Elijah is here, so that he may kill me." And Elijah said, "As the Lord of hosts lives, before whose face I stand, this day I will appear to him." Therefore, Obadiah went away to meet Ahab, and he reported to him. And Ahab went to meet Elijah. And when he had seen him, he said, "Are you the one who is disturbing Israel?" And he said, "I have not troubled Israel. But it is you, and the house of your father, who have abandoned the commandments of the Lord, and have followed the Baals. Yet truly now, send and gather to me all of Israel, on Mount Carmel, with the 450 prophets of Baal, and the 400 prophets of the sacred groves, who eat from the table of Jezebel." Ahab sent to all the sons of Israel, and he gathered together the prophets on Mount Carmel. Then Elijah, drawing near to all the people, said, "How long will you waver between two sides? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is, then follow him." And the people did not respond a word to him. And Elijah said again to the people, "I alone remain as a prophet of the Lord. But the prophets of Baal are 450 men. Let 2 oxen be given to us. And let them choose 1 ox for themselves, and cutting it into pieces, let them set it on the wood. But they may not place fire under it. And I will prepare the other ox, and set it on the wood. But I will not place fire under it. Call upon the names of your gods. And I will call on the name of my Lord. And the God who will have heated with fire, let him be God." And in response, all the people said, "Excellent proposition." Then Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose for yourselves 1 ox, and prepare it first. For you are many. And call on the names of your gods, but do not place fire under it." And when they had taken an ox, which he had given to them, they prepared it. And they called on the name of Baal, from morning even until midday, saying, "O Baal, heed us." And there was no voice, nor did anyone respond. And so they leaped upon the altar that they had made. And when it was now midday, Elijah ridiculed them, saying, "Cry out with a louder voice. For he is a god, and perhaps he is talking, or at an inn, or on a journey, or certainly he may be asleep, and must be awakened." Then they cried out with a loud voice, and they cut themselves, in accord with their ritual, with knives and lancets, until they were entirely covered in blood. Then, after midday had passed, and they were prophesying, the time had arrived when the sacrifice is usually offered. And there was no voice heard, either did anyone heed or respond to the praying. Elijah said to all the people, "Draw near to me." And as the people were drawing near to him, he repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down. And he took 12 stones, in accord with the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord came, saying, "Israel shall be your name." And he built from the stones an altar to the name of the Lord. And he made a trench for water, like 2 furrows of plowed land, all around the altar. And he arranged the wood, and he cut the ox into pieces, and he placed it on the wood. And he said, "Fill 4 containers with water, and pour it over the holocaust, and over the wood." And again he said, "Do this a second time." And when they had done it a second time, he said, Do it also a third time. And they did so a third time. And the water was running down around the altar, and the pit of the trench was filled with water. And when it was now time for the holocaust to be offered, the prophet Elijah, drawing near, said, O Lord God of Abraham, and Isaac, and Israel, reveal this day that you are the God of Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have acted, in all these things, in accord with your precept. Heed me, O Lord, heed me, so that this people may learn that you are the Lord God, and that you have converted their heart again. Then the fire of the Lord fell down, and devoured the holocaust, and the wood, and the stones, and even the dust, and it absorbed the water that was in the trench. And when all the people had seen it, they fell upon their face, and they said, The Lord himself is God. The Lord himself is God. And Elijah said to them, Apprehend the prophets of Baal, and do not let even one of them escape. And when they had apprehended them, Elijah led them down to the torrent Kishon, and he put them to death there. And Elijah said to Ahab, Ascend, eat and drink, for there is the sound of an abundance of rain. Ahab ascended, so that he might eat and drink. But Elijah ascended to the top of Carmel, and bending down to the ground, he placed his face between his knees. And he said to his servant, Ascend, and gaze out toward the sea. And when he had ascended, and had contemplated, he said, There is nothing. And again, he said to him, Return 7 times. And at the 7th time, behold, a little cloud ascended from the sea like the footstep of a man. And he said, Ascend, and say to Ahab, Yoke your chariot, and descend, otherwise, the rain may prevent you. And as he was turning himself this way and that, behold, the heavens were darkened, and there were clouds and wind, and a great rainstorm occurred. And so Ahab, going up, went away to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was upon Elijah. And cinching his waist, he ran before Ahab, until he arrived at Jezreel. 2 Chronicles 18:19. Therefore, Jehoshaphat was wealthy and very famous, and he was joined by affinity to Ahab. And after some years, he descended to him in Samaria. And upon his arrival, Ahab slaughtered very many sheep and oxen, for him and for the people who had arrived with him. And he persuaded him that he should ascend against Ramoth-Gilead. And Ahab, the king of Israel, said to Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, Come with me to Ramoth-Gilead. And he answered him, As I am, so also are you. As your people are, so also are my people. And we will be with you in war. And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, Consult, I beg you, the word of the Lord for the present circumstances. And so the king of Israel gathered together 400 men of the prophets, and he said to them, Should we go to war against Ramoth-Gilead, or should we be quieted? But they said, Ascend, and God will deliver into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not a prophet of the Lord here, so that we may inquire of him as well? And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, There is one man, from whom we would be able to ask the will of the Lord. But I hate him, for he never prophesies good to me, but at all times evil. And it is Micaiah, the son of Imlah. And Jehoshaphat said, You should not speak in this manner, O king. Therefore, the king of Israel called one of the eunuchs, and said to him, Quickly, summon Micaiah, the son of Imlah. Now the king of Israel, and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, were both sitting upon their thrones, clothed in royal vestments. And they were sitting in an open area, beside the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets were prophesying before them. Truly, Zedekiah, the son of Chenaanah, made for himself horns of iron, and he said, Thus says the Lord, With these you shall threaten Syria, until you crush it. And all the prophets prophesied similarly, and they said, Ascend against Ramoth-Gilead, and you shall prosper, and the Lord will deliver them into the hand of the king. Then the messenger who had gone to summon Micaiah said to him, Lo, the words of all the prophets, with one mouth, announce good to the king. Therefore I ask you that you not dissent from them in your word, and that you speak prosperity. And Micaiah responded to him, As the Lord lives, whatever my God will say to me, the same shall I speak. Therefore, he went to the king. And the king said to him, Micaiah, should we go to war against Ramoth-Gilead, or should we be quieted? And he responded to him, Ascend. For everything will come to prosperity, and the enemies will be delivered into your hands. And the king said again and again, I bind you by an oath, so that you will not speak to me except what is true in the name of the Lord. Then he said, I saw all of Israel scattered amid the mountains, like sheep without a shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no masters. Let each one return in peace to his own house. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell you that this one would not prophesy to me anything good, but only what is evil? Then he said, Therefore, listen to the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting upon his throne, and the entire army of heaven was standing beside him, on the right and on the left. And the Lord said, Who will deceive Ahab, the king of Israel, so that he may ascend and fall at Ramoth Gilead? And when one spoke in one way, and another in another way, there came forward a spirit, and he stood before the Lord and said, I will deceive him. And the Lord said to him, In what way will you deceive him? And he responded, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And the Lord said, You will deceive and prevail. Go forth and do so. Therefore now, behold, the Lord gave a lying spirit to the mouth of all your prophets, and the Lord has spoken evil about you. Then Zedekiah, the son of Chenaanah, approached, and he struck Micaiah on the jaw, and he said, In what way did the Spirit of the Lord depart from me, so that he would speak to you? And Micaiah said, You yourself shall see it, in that day, when you will enter a room within a room, so that you may be hidden. Then the king of Israel instructed, saying, Take Micaiah, and lead him to Amon, the leader of the city, and to Joash, the son of Amalek. And you shall say, Thus says the king, Send this man to prison, and give to him a little bread and a little water, until I return in peace. And Micaiah said, If you will have returned in peace, the Lord has not spoken by me. And he said, May all the people listen? And so, the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, ascended against Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said to Jehoshaphat, I will change my clothing, and in this way I will go into battle. But you should be clothed in your own garments. And the king of Israel, having changed his clothing, went to war. Now the king of Syria had instructed the commanders of his horsemen, saying, You shall not fight against the least or the greatest, but only against the king of Israel. And so, when the leaders of the horsemen had seen Jehoshaphat, they said, This one is the king of Israel. And while fighting, they surrounded him. But he cried out to the Lord, and he assisted him, and he turned them away from him. For when the commanders of the horsemen had seen that he was not the king of Israel, they left him. Then it happened that one of the people shot an arrow indiscriminately, and it struck the king of Israel between the neck and the shoulder. And so he said to his chariot driver, Turn your hand, and lead me away from the battle line, for I have been wounded. And the fight ended on that day. But the king of Israel was standing in his chariot facing the Syrians, even until evening. And he died when the sun set. Then Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned in peace to his house in Jerusalem. And the seer Jehu, the son of Hanani, met him, and said to him, You offer assistance to the impious, and you are joined in friendship with those who hate the Lord. And for this reason, you certainly deserve the wrath of the Lord. But good works have been found in you. For you have taken away the sacred groves from the land of Judah. And you have prepared your heart, so as to seek the Lord, the God of your fathers. Then Jehoshaphat lived in Jerusalem. And again he went out to the people, from Beersheba as far as Mount Ephraim. And he called them back to the Lord, the God of their fathers. And he appointed judges of the land, in all the fortified cities of Judah, in each place. And instructing the judges, he said, Pay attention to what you are doing. For you exercise judgment, not of man, but of the Lord. And whatever you will have judged, it will come back to you. Let the fear of the Lord be with you, and do all things with diligence. For there is no iniquity with the Lord our God, nor respect of persons, nor desire for gifts. Jehoshaphat also appointed Levites and priests and leaders of families, out of Israel, in Jerusalem, so that they might judge the judgment and purpose of the Lord for its inhabitants. And he instructed them, saying, So shall you act faithfully, in the fear of the Lord, and with a perfect heart. Every case that will come to you from your brothers, who live in their cities, between kindred and kindred, wherever there is a question concerning law, commandment, ceremonies, or justifications, reveal it to them, so that they may not sin against the Lord, and so that wrath may not overwhelm you and your brothers. Then, by acting in this way, you will not sin. But Amariah, a priest and your high priest, shall preside over those things which pertain to God. Then Zebadiah, the son of Ishmael, who is a ruler in the house of Judah, shall be over those works that pertain to the office of the king. And you have before you the Levites as teachers. Be strengthened and act diligently, and the Lord will be with you for what is good. Song of Solomon 5. May my beloved enter into his garden, and eat the fruit of his apple trees. I have arrived in my garden, O my sister, my spouse. I have harvested my myrrh, with my aromatic oils. I have eaten the honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. Eat, O friends, and drink, and be inebriated, O most beloved. I sleep, yet my heart watches. The voice of my beloved knocking. Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my immaculate one. For my head is full of dew, and the locks of my hair are full of the drops of the night. I have taken off my tunic, how shall I be clothed in it? I have washed my feet, how shall I spoil them? My beloved put his hand through the window, and my inner self was moved by his touch. I rose up in order to open to my beloved. My hands dripped with myrrh, and my fingers were full of the finest myrrh. I opened the bolt of my door to my beloved, but he had turned aside and had gone away. My soul melted when he spoke. I sought him, and did not find him. I called, and he did not answer me. The keepers who circulate through the city found me. They struck me, and wounded me. The keepers of the walls took my veil away from me. I bind you by oath, O daughters of Jerusalem, if you find my beloved, announce to him that I languish through love. What kind of beloved is your beloved, O most beautiful among women? What kind of beloved is your beloved, so that you would bind us by oath? My beloved is white and ruddy, elect among thousands. His head is like the finest gold. His locks are like the heights of palm trees, and as black as a raven. His eyes are like doves, which have been washed with milk over rivulets of waters, and which reside near plentiful streams. His cheeks are like a courtyard of aromatic plants sown by perfumers. His lips are like lilies, dripping with the best myrrh. His hands are smooth gold, full of hyacinths. His abdomen is ivory, accented with sapphires. His legs are columns of marble, which have been established over bases of gold. His appearance is like that of Lebanon, elect like the cedars. His throat is most sweet, and he is entirely desirable. Such is my beloved, and he is my friend, O daughters of Jerusalem. Where has your beloved gone, O most beautiful among women? To where has your beloved turned aside, so that we may seek him with you?